guys, and welcome back to the fourth episode of What You Think. You're here today with me, Melissa,
Momo.
Jang.
And Fezz.
and we're here to discuss the fourth episode of Loki. Lots to discuss today.
As usual, we're going to be talking about the negatives, the positives, discussions of wherever it may take us, whatever we want to, theories as to what might happen in the future. So, without further ado, probably the best episode so far. But, as usual, we got to start out on a sour note. We'll talk about what we didn't like first. And I'll go first with the negatives. I didn't think the action in this episode was particularly good, especially at the end. Oh, and by the way, we're going full spoilers. So if you haven't watched the episode, click off or
Run
watch the
away.
episode and then come
Run.
back. But
Run.
I didn't think the action was particularly good. The way it was shot, the lack of, I guess, not even long takes, but just a bunch of quick cutting and all that. And I guess it's very similar to the second episode in the warehouse. I just wasn't wowed by the action, but a lot of other aspects of the show was wowed by, particularly the acting. But we shan't dilly on with the negatives. I'm just going to quickly ask, does anyone have anything to say about what they didn't like about the episode before we start going into the positives?
I have to agree with you in regards to the action, but mainly because I felt like they focused a lot on hand-to-hand combat with Loki and Sylvie when, they've always introduced them having powers, etc. So I'm like, why don't you use your powers? I mean, you're obviously in a really crucial fight right now, and Loki is just not using any of his powers. He's just punching people.
I think to be fair, the
Here and
TVA the powers don't work, right? So maybe that's why.
Oh, I must have forgotten that.
But you're right. Just like last week's episode was, they're not really fighting anyone, was they? They were just running away from stuff. That was awesome. But yeah, I think it's maybe the issue with the stunt work. Maybe they're just not up for the choreography. But yeah, the action has been a letdown, especially in the second episode and this episode. How about Fezz or Jang? Anything you did not like?
Generally, the episode was good, like what Momo says. The stuff I don't like, I guess, is like nitty picky, which I think they will cover in the later episodes. My first point is that I wish they covered more of Ramona and her motives, because I was kind of expecting more for Ramona, as she seems to be part of a bigger plot with the timekeepers. I just wanted to know what her motives are. Like, is she scared? Is she working for the TVA because she's scared? Or does she agree with what the TVA is doing and she is a villain? I just wanted to know more of her motives in the episode. I also wish we got to know a bit more of why Sylvie is a variant, like why she was taken in the first place. Like, for example, Loki was taken in because he took the Tesseract and he's just going to mess up the timeline. So I was just curious, like, what the TVA's reasons for taking Sylvie in at such a young age. They kind of just slide it off in the elevator scene where they just say, oh, I don't remember why I took you in. So I felt like that was a bit of a letdown. Another scene which I wish they could have improved on, but I was fine with it, was the scene with B15 in the rain, because like the scene, like the way it's shot and like the way they acted and the dialogue was good. I just wish it wasn't raining, because I really wanted to see her emotions more and maybe see her tears. I felt like the rain kind of covered that. But other than that, I guess those are like nitty-pitty. Generally the episode was good. And yeah,
I'm just gonna quickly butt in. I'm gonna counter all your points later on, but yes, Jang.
No, but
yeah, no worries.
yeah, no, I have no problems with this episode. I'm just sad that episode 3 exists. Like, can they just get can this episode 4 be episode 3? Like, it would just make everything so much better. So like, yeah, I had no problems. Like what Fez said about Ramona and all that, I do agree. But like at the same time, I'm okay because they answered so many questions. I was like, oh, okay, you can't answer everything all at once. So like, okay, like just put a few things here and there that are like questions for next episode. Like if they answered everything, it would have been a bit like but yeah, but it was good. It had a good blend of creating new questions and answering current questions. So yeah, I don't really have any problem with this episode.
So you wanted to know and you were able to know. Eh?
Yeah, that's good to
Yeah.
hear from you. Yeah, because you were
Yeah.
so like eager. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
what a
just gonna
save.
quickly,
They just saved it like from episode 3 to episode 4. What a save.
I do agree with that. Like, seeing episode 4 now makes me think that, was episode 3 really necessary?
Yeah, episode 3 was more like trying to build the relationship between Loki and Sylvie, but I think that
Yeah.
there was still
Yeah.
too many unanswered questions with Sylvie that you
I'm
can't see them grow properly together. Like it didn't make it's like, huh? Yeah.
exactly.
Besides countering all of Fezz's points, I'm going to say they're probably going to answer it in the later episodes. That scene in the rain, I thought just with those words, show me, well, insanely powerful. But see, I'm going to put on my writer's cap here. Why didn't they just take that bit where, what's her face? Sylvie and
Sylvie, yeah.
Loki are talking. And no, when she reveals to Loki, oh, I remember Asgard, you have that scene. And then you can keep the whole scene where TVA even picks them up. Just take out that scene and then put that in episode 3, and I think most of our problems would be solved. Like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, we wouldn't hit episode 3. That's one. And number
Yeah, I
two,
agree.
just hypothetically, when you do that, so the scene before the Loki title shows up is where Sylvie is being taken by the TVA. Yeah. So then if we take out that scene where they're on the planet, then after the title, we'll get that scene where she's back in the TVA. So yeah, that would have been a nice, I guess, full circle moment. You know, she escapes the TVA and then Loki appears and she's back. I thought that would have been a nice, an alternate beginning, if you will, and something that could have made episode 3 much better. What do you guys think about that?
I totally agree with that actually.
Yeah, I agree. I think it would have
Yeah.
answered some questions and we wouldn't have been lost in
It would
last
have
week's
made episode 3 more worthwhile.
Yeah.
And another thing I wanted to add as well was what something Jang pointed out was, episode 3 kind of felt like they were just building up the relationship between Sylvie and Loki to lead up to this point in time in episode 4 for a more emotional impact. But I'm not sure if it's just me, but I still couldn't really feel the chemistry between the two of them as in a romantic sort of sense. So when we had that dialogue between him and Mobius teasing him about his alleged romantic feelings, I felt like that just kind of went out of tangent for a bit. It was something I hoped wasn't going to happen, but it did happen. But I guess I'm not going to say that I dislike it entirely because they did kind of allude to the fact that it was as if Loki was falling in love with himself, which is a very Loki thing to do, a really narcissistic trait. But I've always thought that they were more suited to be each other's company in loneliness, not in romance.
Yeah, that's why I don't like episode. I just don't like episode. No, because it was supposed to build the romance with Loki and Sylvie, but I didn't even do that.
Yeah, it felt like
Yeah.
more of a brother-sister relationship.
Yeah,
and
like good friends like that.
Yeah.
Like the only
It-
romance started coming in was like at the start of episode 4 when they were both sitting there. That's when I don't know, but for me that's when it started to get romantic.
yeah. Their relationship felt incredibly forced to me. So that was one of the biggest things I just not entirely satisfied with.
I'll say that I think Tom Hiddleston really sells it. Like, I believe that this Loki loves Sylvie, especially that scene, as you mentioned. I guess you could say the plot point was forced, but that scene where he's like, "Is she alive?" I was like, "Oh wow, calm down, man." Ooh, I feel that anger, just that raw emotion. I thought he completely just sold it. I guess I think I want to save the bulk of this discussion for the positives, which I'm sure we have a lot to talk about. So I'm going to pass it off to Jang first. What did you absolutely love about this episode?
Okay, like overall, like the pacing, I liked it a lot. The all the twists that happened in the episode was very, very good. Did not see any of it coming. Mobius is amazing. Yeah, like I don't know why with Mobius I just keep seeing Lightning McQueen talking. I just see a car talking. So like no, because every time it's like, oh, you like her. Oh, you're breaking my reality. Like I was just like, oh,
Especially
that's
in
Lightning
this
McQueen.
episode, because he was
Yeah.
whispering a lot, and it was like, oh god, it's Lightning McQueen.
Yeah,
It
yeah. I
is.
don't know why it was so Lightning McQueen. Like, okay, yeah, but he was amazing.
Every time he says how, it sounds like wow. So I'm taking that as
Yeah.
wow.
In this episode with all the Mobius scenes, like when oh yeah, spoiler, yeah, when he dies, like it's like I felt for him, like he talked about the jet ski and everything. I was like,
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I
yeah,
cried so much.
yeah, so that twist was amazing. Of course, like Lightning McQueen was amazing. Yeah, and all the explanations that we got about Sylvie. She's kind of a variant. Like, no, yeah, she is a variant, but they didn't say like how she's a variant. But yeah, they did explain a few things and clear up a few things, and they showed the timekeepers. At first, I thought they were just gonna show the timekeepers, but
Mhm.
not actually interact with them. But they did at the end, which was another like twist for me. I was like, oh, okay, very good. And the humor was funny with the time loop. Everything was so. Yeah, I really liked this episode. Everything was good.
Very nice. I'm gonna pass it to Mel. What did you absolutely? I hope you can show the same enthusiasm as Jang did.
Oh no, I completely agree with Jang in the fact that it was really unexpected. To be frank, I actually thought Mobius was kind of sus. Whenever Loki
Oh,
mentioned anything about, oh, the TV is lying to you, blah blah blah, it's all because of the camera angles and the close up to his expressions, the focus on his lips, his face, and I was like, was that a smirk? Was he smiling? I couldn't really tell. But at the end of the day, well, he isn't sus. Well, he just got pruned, and I genuinely screamed because I did not expect him to go. Um, Hopefully,
same.
he's not completely dead, but he might just be completely dead at this point. I'm not too sure, but
No, sorry.
but I just felt that because episode 3 was lacking, in my opinion, of emotions, this episode did really well in regards to making us, sit at the edge of our seat. I was about to say feet. Sit at the edge of our seat and cry and scream and just go, wait, what? No. So especially the part when, well, they met the timekeepers and they weren't actually the timekeepers, they were just robots, and that actually caught me off guard. I guess they ended this episode in a better note than last episode, in my opinion. So I enjoyed the pacing of this episode as well in regards to that sense.
And I'll pass it over to Fez. We have two people who just love the episode. Will you be the third one?
Oh god, I feel like mine is going to be the longest, so bear with me. I'm so sorry.
I'd love to hear it.
I'm so glad Mobius is back. I was so happy to see him. And I think like Mobius really shined in this episode because we got to see so many different sides of Mobius. We got to see him really uncertain. He feels betrayed both by the TVA and Loki. He feels lost. And I love that near his death, he had like a sense of adrenaline and full of like life, that he wants to find a purpose and find a life outside the TVA. And I also love that he shows a lot of hopefulness, especially at this in the scene where he confessed to Loki saying he was right all along. Loki and Mobius relationship and friendship really blossomed here. And I love that they both really care for each other, which is, it's shown so much from the acting, as well as my highlight from that episode from Mobius is when he said, you can be whoever you want, even if it's someone good. It's like he's being such a supportive friend, saying to Loki, you can change your destiny. You don't have to be the god of mischief because you were born with it. You can be whoever you want. And I thought that was so well done. Again, the acting was amazing, genuinely, not just from the main characters, but just also the side characters. The acting was very well done. And I feel like for me, Mobius, just most of the time Mobius steals the show whenever he's there, which is amazing. I also really love Tom Hiddleston's acting when he saw that Mobius is dead, because you can see how heartbroken he is from his eyes and facial expression, because Mobius treated him as like a friend and he didn't like downgrade him at all. I thought this episode had brilliant writing. We get to see most of the characters had a lot of depth in this episode, from Sylvie to Loki to Mobius and even to B15, where B15 was really like struggling and finding out who she is, questioning her motives. That was really good comedy. I love the cell prison scene where Loki was getting really irritated. I laughed so much at that. I love the twist. And I think this is one of the best episodes so far, even in the Marvel TV shows, where they had really good dialogue because there were so many quotes I picked up, and I thought the dialogue was really good, especially from Mobius. And I'm gonna shut up now because I spoke too much and pass it to Momo.
No, actually, I agree
Really
with you
well
with
said, yeah.
the fact that Loki, Tom Hiddleston acted
Mhm.
very well in this episode. Like especially no,
Yeah.
the one that got me was when Mobius died.
Mm.
Usually, you know, you will look like disturbed or something, but he looked genuinely hurt by that. He was like, ooh. Like he looked like oh, he looked like it actually hurt. So I was like, oh, that was good
Mm.
acting there.
The
So
beautiful thing with Tom Hiddleston's acting is that it's all in his eyes. You can clearly see
Yes.
in his eyes. And that's something that I feel not a lot of actors can do or have, but that's just a special thing with Tom. And I genuinely enjoyed it. Like Jang said, when Mobius died, you could just see his eyes get all watery. No, even when the mention at the beginning of Sylvie and her, and Mobius saying, "Oh, Sylvie's gone." You can actually see his eyes tear up, and even like, it's not just Mobius saying in the dialogue, "Oh, you're tearing up." No, Tom was actually showing it, and I love that. Yeah,
yeah,
hands
like even when he was walking out of the room after
Oh
Mobius died, he was
yes.
just staring like into the distance, like what the fuck.
And he was like
So I was like,
processing
oh
all
yeah,
his
you're actually right.
emotion.
His
Yeah.
eyes really shows everything. Like even when he was worried about Sylvie, his eyes got bigger. It's like, wait,
Yes.
what?
So yeah,
Momo, what did you
to
like
echo
about this episode?
nothing. I like episode 3 much. No, but basically, I'm going to echo a lot of your points. 100 for me. I think like every good piece of television shows, it's all about the payoff, right? And I think this episode answered all the questions set up in episode 1, 2, and I guess to some extent even 3. The payoff was there. Everything that was answered was equally satisfying. So besides that, I agree with Fez. I think what stood out the most was probably the acting from everyone, and I have the names. We've mentioned Tom Hiddleston, and I also would like to single out his voice. With this show in particular, I never realized his voice is really smooth, I guess is the word. It's very
Soothing, yeah.
soothing. I'm just like, you could read me bedtime stories, and I like that
No,
function
he
on my
did.
Alexa.
He actually did. Yeah, he did. It was on CBBC, a kid's like
Sesame
UK
Street,
TV
right?
show.
It was
Yeah, yeah.
the
And
oh,
back when
I
I was still studying for IGCSEs, I listened to a video of Tom reciting some at maps equations or whatnot, and that was just really
you know
good.
what? I think I remember that now. And then someone asked him about Thor or something, right? And he's like, he punches the kid or something, right? Am I thinking of the right thing? Or like he does
Well, yeah.
something. Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that now. But yeah, the acting for Tom Hiddleston, I think all you Hiddle stands have gone at length. Owen Wilson, as we've mentioned, he plays the conflict really well, and I've never really
Yes.
seen much from Owen Wilson when it comes to emotional depth, anger, kind of the pain, frustration. I've never seen that from him before, because he's just
Yeah.
been like the funny guy in
Ka-chow.
movies.
Yeah. And like I also want to add, like, especially when he was confessing or when they were like before he died, he was literally like trembling his breath.
Mm.
That was
Yeah.
so powerful.
I audibly gasped. Like, I didn't expect that. That was so shocking. I
Mm.
was like, huh?
Oh
I was
God,
like,
same.
that was, they're not afraid. I've always said about these Marvel shows, I'm like, oh, these Marvel shows are genius because you don't even have to watch them. Like, WandaVision, I've said you don't really have to watch it. What's the other one? Falcon with the Soldier. But this one, there are actually real stakes here. So
Mhm.
that's definitely
Mhm.
keep up. We've mentioned Hunter B15. I wrote her name down. Wunmi Mosaku. Yes. I remember Fez said she didn't really feel it with that scene in the rain, but I personally felt it. Just that line, "Show me," just overwhelmed with emotions, just her trembling and wanting to know the answer, and her saving the day at the end, equally satisfying. She's an absolute highlight of the show, especially in the
Mm.
first 2 episodes when she's kind of playing the comic relief against Loki. Now we truly get to see another side of her. I love that. Um, Sylvie herself, Sophia Di Martino, whether she has a lot of chemistry with Tom Hiddleston, I don't know yet. But what she really plays well is the vulnerability, like that scene where B15 meets her in that cell. Just how vulnerable she is at this point, having lost it all or thinking she's lost it all. I thought was just really beautiful. And also the hurt, that scene in the elevator with Vona when she asked for Vona, like, "Oh, why'd you take me in?" Yeah, I don't remember. You can just see her face full of her whole life has just been taken away by this mysterious organization, and I really felt that. And also, Gugu Mambata Raw, who's also excellent in the morning show. I just wrote down she's deliciously devious as Venslea, and I also feel I love her frustration also. She just wants to get rid of these variants at all costs, and obviously what the character is going to do in the future is just I can't wait to see who's she working for, whether it's Kang, whether she's working for someone else. So many questions, which I hope will be answered in episode 5 and episode 6. And also a shout out, I don't think anyone mentioned this. The score is absolutely
Oh
excellent.
yes.
Yes, I was just about to mention that after.
So a shout out to Natalie Holt. I just love that leitmotif that goes tong 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 tong. Wah, wah, wah.
Mhm.
The tong 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 tong.
That's
The
exactly how it went, Momo, for sure.
You got it spot on.
so yeah, the Asgardian theme, it's very haunting, like the Nordic vibes. Absolutely love it, love it, love it, love it. This show is firing on all cylinders, and also like Jang said, when you actually meet the timekeepers, I just love their voice. They look weird. Yeah, one guy looked like Squidward with the tentacle mouth.
Yeah, did you guys also see the meme that one of them looks like the Lorax?
Oh yeah, that
No. Oh
guy.
god, yeah.
You are in no position to power.
I have to admit, I actually couldn't tell what they were saying because their voices were just so low and reverb. I was like, wait, I don't have what is going on.
Yeah, it really went a long way to sell that. I did not expect them all to be fake because their
Same.
voices was just
Same.
trembling and booming all over the sound. I was like, oh wow, this is real. So I did not expect that at all. And does anyone? That's all I have for. I mean, we could probably go on and on about positives, but one more thing, as you mentioned, killing off Loki. I mean, I wrote this out. This is the 4th time he's died, and
It
I still was
is.
like, before the end credits, I was like, huh? Wow,
Well,
they never said this was Tom Hiddleston's Loki.
in
This was just Loki. So I was just like, huh.
Oh.
So Lady Loki might just be the new star of the show. They really killed off Tom. Then I went on Twitter and I saw
oh.
end credit scene. I was like, oh, okay, continue. And then of course that end credit scene. I love my boy Richard E. Grant. He was the only, I guess, good part. No, he wasn't, but he was pretty good in Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. I'm gonna assume some of you don't know who's Richard E. Grant.
Wait,
He's the
who did
guy,
he play?
That
the
old
older
guy.
guy
Who did he play in Star Wars?
in Star Wars. General Pride, the guy who shoots Hux in the 9th movie.
Oh,
The only
okay.
general, the only general with a brain. But yeah, I just love
The
that
only
post
general with a
credit,
brain.
that post credit scene where he's just wearing that ridiculous getup, but he sells it.
Speaking of Star Wars, the timekeepers, when we first went into the room, they looked like they were in Star Wars for some reason. Like, I don't know, like the whole lighting and everything, but I thought that was just a funny
I agree. Yeah,
note.
very.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
fight scene reminded me of the Last Jedi a bit. I think, yeah, where
It
Yeah.
does. Yeah, when Rey
Kylo Ren.
and Kylo Ren were fighting together in Last Jedi, right?
and both relationships, Lady Loki or Sylvie, I should say, and Loki as well as Rey and Kylo, I think are haram. So I'm not a fan of it. One is self-cess. I think I just made a word self-cess.
Self-cess.
The other one is,
Self-obsessed, yeah.
in my view, quite
Self-obsessed,
toxic
yeah.
anyway. But
I guess we could end this segment with a quote that stands out, I guess, in the words of Loki. Lokis may lose, sometimes painfully, but they don't die. They
Survive.
survive.
Survive, yes.
not the Loki who just blew up in space. Not that one. That one's I'm pretty sure we're gonna talk a lot about what's gonna happen in the 5th and 6th episode. Lady Sif, I love seeing disappeared in Thor 3, Avengers movies. It's nice to see her again, and I think she's gonna have a role in Thor 4. Does anyone have any thoughts on any specific characters about Loki's growing vulnerability, his self-realization, or more importantly, I think Mel alluded to this, she's not a fan of Sylvie and Loki, because I mean I always thought it was a brother sister kind of thing, but how do you guys think this relationship will progress? Does he actually love, and well, we know he loves Sylvie, but do you think Sylvie is going to reciprocate those feelings? Is she just going to be like, this is wrong? I'll do it in my best British accent. This is wrong, mate.
Nailed it.
Joanka.
If it ends up being a sisterly, brotherly kind of love, I wouldn't have minded it so much, I guess.
Yeah.
But romantic, I can't sense it. I mean, I've mentioned this before. I'm not feeling the romance. I can feel the physical attraction though. Especially in episode 3 when we had that dark silhouette shot of her hands around his neck when she tried to enchant him. So yeah, I felt like there was some sort of physical attraction. I mean, this is Loki to Loki. I mean, he's a narcissist. So it has to be some sort of attraction to a certain extent. But romantic because I love her like as a girlfriend kind of thing. I just can't. Like I really can't feel it. The future episodes might prove me wrong, who knows? But as of now, not an ideal route for them to go through with, in my opinion.
Yeah,
How
I
about-
agree with Mel because I think it has to do because of the third bloody episode. The third bloody
Exactly.
yeah, exactly right. Like the third bloody episode made it look like they were having a brother-sister relationship. And
Exactly.
yeah, but to be honest, I really did like the scenes where they were together in the fourth episode, like when Sylvie was like talking to Loki before they thought they were gonna die. And at the end, I felt like the connection was there. You can tell they really loved each other. But yeah, see, that's the thing. I'm kind of lost. I'm like really mixed with whether they will be together romantically or they'll just have a sister-brother relationship, because I feel like maybe they haven't interacted yet enough or not enough so that we can see it as a romantic relationship, what Mel said. But I'm also like, I'm on the edge. I'm very unsure right now.
It's like no, because now like they're trying to make it romantic, but it just doesn't feel right because the last episode was like normal relationship, and then
Yeah.
now only if they were hinting at it in the third episode or actually showing it in the third episode, then yeah, okay, it might make more sense now. But
Agreed.
because of the third episode, like they
I mean, I'm gonna grow up to be like, I don't know, in my retirement home, and I'm still gonna tell like grandkids and stuff. The third episode was not necessary.
Now let's move on to. Can we get a drum roll, please? Your legs.
Oh, that's a good. That was really good.
I have 3 questions I'd like to pose to everyone, and I'm gonna pass it to each person. And if anyone has anything else to chime in, please do so. So I'm gonna give the first question to Fez. I don't think it was actually romance that caused the Nexus event, but it might be. So Fez, I'm just gonna ask you, why did they cause a Nexus, like not even a Nexus event, a super duper Nexus event?
Oh.
Was it Self-Cess? Was it Sweet Home Alabama? Or was
Sweet
it something
Home
else?
Yeah, I was actually confused too, because like when I was watching it and they said, because like nothing happened, right? And when they apparently touched hands, that caused a Nexus event. I was very, very, very lost too. Like, how did they know that when they're together they will cause this? Like, I don't understand that.
The one thing I remember was that Sylvie did say something about how she wasn't meant to exist. I didn't actually write the quote down. Oh God, I should have written the quote down. She said something about how she wasn't meant to exist, and she should have, and that's why she's been running away, etc. So I think that the fact that she and Loki kind of made like a connection that was not supposed to happen, I think there is something dangerous about, I don't know, about more than one Loki ganging up together and forming a connection, like a whole
Alabama.
like
I see.
have their a Loki army. It's probably something that the TVA does not want. I don't know, and maybe that's why they took her away from Asgard, because there'll be more than one Loki there, because Loki's already like that. I don't know.
I was thinking along the lines of, maybe these Lokis are changing from what Lokis are supposed to be. That's why it's causing such a huge divergence. I have no idea. But does anyone else want to take a guess as to why they caused the super duper Nexus event?
No, that's why. How they could technically like get married and have children, and it won't matter because they're gonna die. They're gonna die either way. There's literally nothing they can do.
Yeah, how could there be a super duper Nexus event when it's right before an apocalypse? Because didn't they mention that anything that occurs before an apocalyptic event doesn't matter?
Something did
Oh my
happen.
God, yes!
But now, Jang has mentioned it. I
right.
just realized, why
Yeah.
didn't they just leave them to die?
Yeah, it could anything. They could just kill each other and then they could do anything they want. It literally shouldn't matter. That's why I don't understand the how they found them.
Yeah,
I wish
that's
that they had a
probably-
better way to do it.
That's
But
probably
like
a good
okay.
explanation there. But no, like
Why-
Jang said,
why
you're right.
save
Why
them as
didn't
well?
they should just open the door and be like, oh wait, a moon's about to come here and kill them. So if we just leave, they're gonna die here.
Yeah,
See,
you're going through all of that trouble to prune them, etc. If you just left them there, they're dead. It's done.
Yeah.
Like your problem is done,
Oh my
guys.
god, guys! I
Yeah,
think we
easy.
discovered a plot hole, y'all.
No, but like I think that no, and that's the thing that they closed it up too. They didn't say like, oh, I don't know what caused the Nexus event. It's like what is that? Mobius just said, oh, it was your romance that created the Nexus event. Ah, that's it. So they kind of just passed that off as the explanation.
Mm.
I
That
think
they're
they're gonna
actually
come
like,
back. They're gonna come back to that. I think. I don't
you think
think.
they'll come back?
Definitely,
Oh, okay.
hopefully.
Probably think
Eh,
so, or maybe just
Yeah.
because our levels of haram were too high.
Oh.
Haram levels the next level, so they can call it. No, but still, like yeah. I hope they come back to it because it doesn't make sense.
So, Jang, our resident writer, I'm going to pose this question to you. Who's actually behind the TVA? Now that we know the timekeepers are just androids, who is it? Casey?
We not enough information. we, we really don't have any, like, no, that's the thing with this episode. They've answered so many questions and so many things happen that I'm not as eager to know. I don't need to know. I'm
You
I'm
don't want
okay.
to know?
Oh, really?
I
That's
know, like
shocking.
I'm like, okay, I will know next week. It is okay. But like with like episode 3, I was like, what? I had nothing. I got nothing from this. So like at least this one they were like, okay, this happened, this happened. Mobius died, Loki died, and then Sylvie is actually they took her from. Okay, I got some information, like some things to process. So like when they were just like, who, if it's not the timekeepers, then who is it? Well, if I had to guess, I'll say it's just, I think it's gonna be Kang the Conqueror. I just think. And there's no evidence to support it, but that's just the general idea. Like I said, not enough information. But
Mm.
yeah, I don't really like. I'm okay lah. Don't,
Yeah,
I'll find out next week.
the operating theory, because I'm going to pose another question. Do you guys think Renslayer seems a bit scared of the real person behind the curtain? What do you guys think? Because the operating theory is, she's working with Kang, she's a lover of Kang, blah, blah, blah. So who's the dominant one in that relationship? Probably Kang, forcing her
Kang.
to do this and that.
Kang.
But Kang, Kang, Kang,
It was like
Kang.
silent. Yeah. Kang. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
just thinking Kang
Yeah.
as
Okay.
well.
The another question I have is like, why was Sylvie a Nexus event when she was what? No, like, Why did they take her when she was a toddler? Like,
Yeah, that's what
should,
I.
sh-
Yeah, that's the
yeah.
question that Sylvie herself had. It's just never answered.
But I was gonna
she
say,
al-
like, that was the thing I didn't like about the episode, which I mentioned earlier, was that, like, why didn't they say why Sylvie was taken in at a young age? And then in the elevator when Renova was like, oh, I don't remember. I'm like, that's just such a cop-out way, you know what I mean?
they're
I
probably
think
gonna
they
come
will
back
bring
to
it
that.
back next
Yeah,
episode,
it's definitely
probably.
not. That's too unsatisfying to not.
They ended it
bring.
with a Sylvie versus Ramona scene, right? So I think we will get it answered next episode, perhaps.
Yeah, but why didn't they kill her like when she was born? Like when she's born, she's not a boy, so she's not a boy Loki, so wrong already, kill her.
Did
But then why
something.
did they wait until she's a toddler and then like, okay, hello?
No, she
Like,
probably messed up. When she was playing the toys. I guess she did something
Oh.
off. That's kind of
yeah,
like the
but the
guy who
fact
just
that she
stepping off the wrong
exists is
branch.
off already. The fact
No,
that
no, no,
she's a
it doesn't.
girl
It
is off
doesn't. No, no,
already.
no, 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 that. No, 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 no. It doesn't matter. There can be multiple. There can be like 100 timelines. The problem is they just can't intersect with each other. So like it can be 1,000 parallel lines for all they care, but like there's only one sacred timeline. Do I get everything? No, but I think there can exist a billion different variations of Loki. They just can't intersect, or that red line just can't touch.
Oh,
So that's what I think.
that's interesting.
So like one sacred timeline is like this timeline is the best, the real. Everything else can exist in a multiverse, I guess. But see, yeah,
Oh.
that's what I always assumed. They just can't intersect. That's what I
Right.
always
I think
So
they
thought.
you're saying
mentioned
there's
this
more than
in
one timeline lah. There's multiple timelines, but the sacred timeline is the main one that we're listening to. So there could be
Original.
like, yeah, so there
Yeah.
could be infinite other timelines, but as long as they don't,
They don't
they
touch each
don't
other. They don't branch out and start touching each other. That's why there was a multiversal war. So now everything just has to go straight. Nothing
So
can be
then
bent.
doesn't the TVA need to make sure that the other timelines also don't start branching?
But everything
Oh,
we
that
know
which is
about the
what they did with
TVA,
Sylvie lah.
I guess, but
Yeah.
everything we know about the TVA has been a kind of that video, I guess, was just a lie up to this point. The lies they
If
tell
anything,
themselves.
if anything, the TVA tells more lies than Loki.
But Mel, I have a question for you.
Oh
What's
dear, no
going
pressure.
to determine your grade point average? Now, will Loki get out of that purgatory. What do you think it all meant, and will he reunite with Mobius on a jet ski?
So we're basically gonna see Avengers assemble, but this time it's Loki assemble.
Oh, I'm so excited.
And I'm very curious to see what the other Lokis. I mean, like, I'm like, what? There's more. Like, I'm tongue tied. I just don't know what to say or predict from here on out. It was already like a shock to see at the beginning of the show that there's Sylvie, another Loki, and then now you have like three more in the screen in the post-credit scene, and then we're gonna see possibly even more Lokis. So I am very genuinely curious about that. I feel like they're all just gonna somehow find a way to make their way back to the TVA and then save Sylvie or gang up with Sylvie, defeat Ramona, and then I don't know. And then the timekeepers will be there and then they fight them or something. I don't know.
Can I just say also, like, you know, when at the in the middle of the episode, Mobius is like, I had enough with Loki. He's already dealing with them. It's so strenuous, and we find out later that Mobius and Loki are not dead. They're like in another island. I can't wait for Mobius to interact with like 10 million Lokis, because he's already had enough with two. He's just gonna have like a migraine dealing with an army of Lokis, which is good luck to him.
Yeah.
I'm not even that excited to see him meet the other Lokis. I'm excited to see what other variants of Mobius exist. I want to see.
Oh, that'll be so
I-
fun.
I don't. Wait,
Mhm.
actually, Disney owns Pixar and Marvel. Oh yeah, so for all we know,
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Lightning
bet,
McQueen.
I'm gonna bet 1,000 ringgit we are going to have a Lightning McQueen Easter egg. Whether it actually be a red Pixar car show up or like something in the background. I'm 99. If Loki is an alligator, I'm pretty sure Mobius can be a car. I'm just saying.
I
I'll
would
bet
I
1,000
would
ringgit.
love to see like a car smash into a timekeeper's and it says like ka-chow.
Yes.
And it just wow.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I have questions I want to ask you guys. Actually, only one question. So, like, just curious to hear your opinion. Like, where do you guys think Loki and Mobius end up after they were pruned? Because I think, because like looking at the background, I watched the episode twice. It looked like a rundown New York, because I could see the Avengers Tower like disintegrated when they would show the other three Lokis. So
What? I didn't see
Oh,
that at
really?
all.
oh, it was, yeah. If you watch it
Oh my
again,
god.
on the right hand side,
Yeah,
with
yeah, it's there.
Jang got my back again.
Correct. Yes.
you got my back. Yeah, I'm just really curious. Like, where do you guys think Loki and Mobius ended
You
up
are
in?
right.
Back in 2012.
Like when
Wow.
they failed.
You're right.
I'm
Jang,
shocked.
Jang got my back all the time, and I'll have.
Would this
No,
would
that's
this
one
be
of the
an
first things I did,
alternate?
because like, you know, like I'm weird that way. I just break down the really like the shots with a lot of stuff in the back. So that was one of the shots with the most stuff in the back. So the first thing I did was Google the end credit scene. I was just like, what's behind? And I was like, oh, Avengers Tower. I was like, oh, that's all
Would
I
this
got.
be like an alternate universe where if the Avengers failed and the Lokis managed to actually take over New York?
That
No,
would be
that's why
so
I think like
cool.
after you get pruned, right, you're just on a place with a bunch of other variants of yourself, is it?
That's cool.
That could
I'd
be.
love to get pruned.
Yeah, then you'll just be stuck with a bunch of males. Just
Yeah.
1 million males. Oh. So yeah, so then there'll be like a lots of Mobius, and so no, but I'm really interested, like where do you go when you're pruned? Because like other people also get pruned. They just end up in a place with versions of themselves.
I think you're probably right. But I think because Avengers Tower, when I'm thinking of Avengers Tower, where did Loki have his biggest failure in a string of failures? I guess it would be that point in the first Avengers where
Oh.
he basically fails in his invasion of Earth. So I think that has something to do with it. I don't know what, but yeah, perhaps. But I did not spot the Avengers Tower. Cool, thanks, Fez.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
No
Wow.
problem. Thank God I had Jang behind me, or else I thought I was
just like, yes.
imagining.
I was just there like, yes, I know the tower. I saw it. Yes.
That about wraps it
Oh.
up. Unless you have anything to add, please do.
Yeah, the another thing that Mobius said was we brought in Kree, Titans, vampires, and there's vampires.
Oh my god.
Excited to see Robert Pattinson show up as the Twilight vampire
Robert.
in the next
That
episode of
will be really nice. I
I
guess
think that
we should also kind of just mention I love how we had Sif appear
Yes.
cameo. I did not expect that, but I was very satisfied, very pleased. It's been a while.
Why does Mobius and Ravona have a name while the others are B15, C20 like that?
they're
Like,
hunters, I think.
Yeah.
Like we had the fish guy,
Hunter.
his name was Casey.
Casey.
That
also,
means
So I
Casey saw a fish in his past life and just forgot.
ah.
Sorry,
It was
I'm
his
just
past
like,
life.
yeah.
So would
That's-
would Mobius be a jet ski in his past lives?
Yeah,
It's
I
just a
think so, maybe because he did say it, but I have no
Ka-chow.
idea.
so it's hunters which have numbers and then everyone else has a name. That's quite sad.
I think when
Okay.
they become like when they rise up the ranks, they'll get a name for
Mm.
themselves.
I think
Yeah.
it's literally like symbolism to show that they're literally slave to the system.
Ooh, that's some good symbolism, Mel.
Yeah.
B15. Something we did last week for the first time was give numerical ratings to the episode. So I'm gonna start off with, let's go with Jang first. What would you rate
Let's
this
go,
episode
Jang.
out of
Yes,
10?
go Jang.
Wait,
Let's
it's
go.
out of 10, right?
No,
No,
20.
two.
No, I was calculating. You said 2, then I recalculated in my brain. I was like, wait, what? 2 doesn't make sense. Okay, 10. I'll give it 8.59. Like 8.5 lah.
What? 5'9"?
8.5 lah. 8.5. 8.5.
Specific.
No, because I always leave out like 10, like the best rating. I always leave it out for like, and it's something that really blows me away, like
Makes
next
sense.
level. So the
Mhm.
like, yeah, this is really pretty good lah. Very good.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So Mel, can you top that rating? Higher, lower? Where will you go?
I would probably give it an 8.67.
Wow.
Why not 8.679?
With all these decimals.
Mm.
Really pleased with it. And yeah, like Jang, I'm saving the higher ratings because we still have a few episodes left to go, and I'm saving it for like if they manage to top this one. But I'm generally really happy with this episode. Yep. How about
And
you, Fez?
Fez?
I'm gonna go all out. I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. I think it's a
Love.
massive comeback after last week's episode. I feel like personally, this episode had the strongest writing. The acting from everyone is phenomenal. It kept me on edge. I am kind of like Jang now. I want more. I really am so eager to find out what the hell's happening. Like, I want the next episode now. And yeah, I was really satisfied. I loved it a lot. 9 out of 10. What about you, Momo? I'm very curious about your rating.
I'm gonna.
Last but not least.
I don't think we've ever had people give the same ranking on this show for the past 2 episodes, which isn't saying much. But I'm gonna give this episode a 3 squared.
Stop.
Your
It's
mother-
nine.
your
What?
mother
What?
has-
Sorry, my math is
9.
horrible.
3 squared, 9.
Oh, 9. Oh my god, so I can't do math. Oh
So yeah,
yay, same
I-
as me. High five.
I'm just gonna echo whatever Fez said. It's the show firing on all cylinders. The best. It's not afraid to get kooky. The action is great. The acting is great. Direction is strong. Maybe the action is a bit off, but other than that, this is a strong. Penultimate. Not really penultimate, but yes, nearing the end of the season. We only have 2 episodes left, so I guess that about wraps it up for today.
Thank you guys for listening to another episode of What You Think, whether it be on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. Please do us a favor and share it with your friends if they're interested in listening, and rate us and like us as well. That will help us go a really long way. Follow our social medias as well. We do have Instagram and we do not have Twitter, if I'm not mistaken. We said we'd set that up, but I don't think we have yet. But that will probably be in the near future or so. And stick around for next week's episode where we will where we will discuss episode 5 of Loki. Until then, this was Mel Fezz, Momo, and Jang.
And we'll see you all on the next episode of What Do You Think? Episode 5.
Ciao.
Thank you guys.
Yay.
Bye.
Bye.